that Evans actually had come. Yes, good afternoon. Evans had come to Golden Lion Hotel to stay over there, and today we will start from page number 88. And there he saw. Actually, it was like this that Evans actually had taken evening walk, and he came back to the hotel because he wanted to go. He wanted early night because he knew that next day he have lots of work to do. And when he came back to the hotel, he saw that the girl in the reception, it was a changed one. She had been changed when she came first time for check-in. It was a different girl, but when she came back, it was different. She was different. So she actually saw, and she was happy because she knew that changed faces always would help him. Not only that, actually now she actually Evans now went into his room in the hotel, and he entered into his room and he closed the door behind him. And when he turned around, actually he saw somebody was sitting in his bed. And here it has been described as that he unlocked, I'm reading from here, that he unlocked his bedroom door and closed it quickly behind him, and then stood frozen to the spot like a man who has just caught a glimpse of the Gorgon. I'm reading from page number 87. That actually he saw somebody was sitting on the bed and he was terrified, as if he got a glimpse of Gorgon. Gorgon means a demon, a devil. He was so much, terrified to see this. Not only that, it has been stated that the person who was sitting over there, it was the last person to whom he wanted to meet in the world. Now come to the page number 88, and it was the governor who was sitting on that bed. So, though Evans escaped from the jail for the fourth time, but ultimately he had been caught again by the governor, and the governor told him that you must not try to escape from here because the hotel has been escorted by the police persons. And not only that, the governor told him that you should notice that the girl in that reception, it was changed, and here that women too. Didn't you think the blonde girl in the reception was rather sweet? The governor told these two to Evans. Evans was visibly shaken. He sat down slowly in the only chair the small room could offer, and held his head between his hands. For several minutes there was utter silence. He was just sat on the chair and held his head like this, and he was sitting on the chair. Now, finally, he spoke. Finally, he spoke. It was the bloody correction slip, I suppose. Now Evans told that it was for you, that you got traced me, and you were able to trace me only for the correction slip. That Evans told this to the governor. Well, the governor failed to mask the deep satisfaction in his voice, and governor was he was very much satisfied, because it was a great defame for him, because that would be the fourth time when Evans would escape from his jail. Now actually governor had recaptured Evans, and that is why he was very much satisfied, though he tried to hide this satisfaction, but he was unable to hide the satisfaction in his voice. There are a few people who knew a little German, he told Evans. Yes, there are a few people who knew little German. Actually, he was telling his own. Actually, he was telling about himself, because we know that we discussed last day that actually the governor had read German in his school days. So and from dredging from that early knowledge, he was able to translate what was written in that correction slip in the German language into English, and that helped him to come to that hotel chasing Evans. Slowly, very slowly, Evans relaxed. Now Evans was sitting on that chair. He was beaten, and he knew it. Beaten means he was defeated. Again, yes, it was Till then, the plan was supreme, but he was defeated. He sat up at last and managed to smile ruefully. Ruefully means sadly, he smiled. No, it wasn't really a mistake. You see, we hadn't been able to fix up any hotel, but we could have worked that some other way. No, the really important thing was for the phone to ring just before the exam finished, to get everyone out of the way for a couple of minutes. So we had to know exactly when the exam started, didn't we? Now Evans was telling in his confession that it was not important thing that which hotel we have come in, but the most important thing was there that a phone call came to the governor just before the exam complete, and no, sorry, just when the exam started, because it was important to know when the examination was started, that Evans was telling. And the really important thing was that the phone rang just before the exam finished, okay, to get everyone out of the way for a couple of minutes. So we had to know exactly when the exam started, didn't we? And really, actually Evans was in his confession, he told that before the examination, and remember that at the examination completed at 11:25, at 11:22 a phone call came, and to the governor, and the governor to governor no, a phone call came to Jackson, the senior prison officer, and Jackson told Stephens, who was standing constantly outside the cell, that at 11:22, and Jackson told Stephens that governor wanted to talk to you over telephone, and Stephens went from there. So Evans was telling that this was the most important thing, that a phone call came just before the examination finished. And like a fool, I pretended you with that little piece of information on a plate. And the governor is telling that, like a fool, I presented you with a little piece of information on a plate. Actually, governor told yes, that I was a fool, and like a foolish person, I have provided the information. Well, somebody did. So, you see, sir, the correction slip killed two birds with a single stone, didn't it? The name of the hotel for me, and the exact time the examination started for. And Evans told the governor that the correction slip had killed two birds in a single stone. How? First, in the correction slip, the name was there, the Golden Lion. Okay, so this was the name of the hotel where Evans should come up, or Evans should check in after he would escape from jail. Second, when a phone call came from the examination board, it was also important to know that when the examination was started. So for these, Evans was telling to governor that it killed two birds in a single stone. The governor nodded. It's a pretty common word, he told. Yes. Now, good job. It is a pretty common, sir, or I would never have known where to come to, would I? Now, Evans actually giving thanks to his friend, and told yes, it was a pretty good job, because if the correction slip had not been carried to me, and if the correction slip had not come, then I would not know that we're escaping from jail where I should come in. Nice name though, Jum Golden Lion. This was the name. Actually, this was the correction in that question paper. According to the correction slip, this was the correction there. How did you know which golden lion it was? There is hundreds of them. And Evans was asking, sir, my question is, how could you understand that this specific golden lion where you have come, how do you know that this golden lion I would check in? Because hundreds of this name were there. Same as you, Evans. Index number 313, center number 271. Remember, 6 figures. And if you take an ordnance survey map for Oxfordshire, you found that the 6-figure reference 313 by 271 lands you bang in the middle of Chipping Norton. Now, here actually the governor told that yes, don't feel that we are all full. What was the index number? 313, center number 271. It was written there. That McClary told Evans to write all these center number, index number, and governor was telling that if I put this number together, that 6 figure, it would be a 6-figure reference. That would be 313 by 271. And if you see the map, then this 313 by 271, it comes to Chipping Norton. You know, this was the way that how governor could find could find where Evans would be. Yeah, we were right. Oof. We had opened you would run off to Newbury. Sorry, we had hoped you would run off to Newbury. That Evans told this to governor. That actually in the correction slip the name was there. So Newbury, and the governor also actually at first, according to Evans, at what Evans thought, at first the detective Carter had done the same thing, because detective Carter had gone to Newbury. Evans was telling also that I thought that you would go to Newbury, you would not come to Chipping Norton. We did. Well, that's something, I suppose. And governor accepted. Yes, we did. As you thought that we should go to search you in Newbury, according to that correction slip, we really did it. We know that Detective Carter had gone there. Well, that's something, I suppose. And Evans told us, I suppose that he would do like this. That question paper, Evans, could you really understand all the German? I could hardly. Now, actually, governor was asking to Evans that could you really understand all the German what is written, which were written in the question paper, because I could not understand all the German which was written there. No, of course I couldn't. No, Evans told no, I couldn't. Of course means of course I couldn't. I knew roughly what it was all about, but we just opened. We just hoped it would throw a few spanners in the works, sort of muddle everybody a bit. A spanners means a whimsical thing, and Evans told no sir. Actually, what I knew that this correction slip will make all the people confused a bit, and they will not be able to catch me where I have gone. And this was the purpose of such a correction slip or something else. Now, okay. The governor stood up. Tell me one thing before you go. Now governor was sitting on the bed of Evans, and he stood up. He told, tell me one thing before you go. How on earth did you get all that blood to pour over your head? Now this was a valid question, when Evans was found just after the examination, that blood was coming out from his head. So the governor asked this question to Evans. You tell me, where from you get all the blood? That your head was flooded with blood. So where from you got this blood? Evans suddenly looked a little happier. Happier because Evans was happy to disclose his plan. Clever, sir, very clever. That was how to get a couple of pins of blood into a cell. That governor Evans was asking this to the governor. That yes, do you think it's a very clever thing? And how I could get blood inside a cell. When there is none, there is to start off, and when then when the invigilator, shall you say, gets searched before he comes in, and even when the invigilator came, he had been thoroughly searched. So where from we get this blood? How it was possible to actually bring or to face this blood into the cell? Whereas when the invigilator came, we know that Jackson, the senior prison officer, he came and thoroughly searched invigilator McClady. So how it was possible for us to bring or to fetch this blood inside that cell? Yes, sir. You could well ask about that, and I didn't. If I ought to tell you, after all, I might want to use that particular. And Evans told, sir, thank you for asking this. I want to tell you I want to use the particular, because I want to use that particular. It was a part of plan that I used a particular blood and make you all fool. That Evans actually had done. Anything to do with a little rubber ring for piles, perhaps? Now the governor actually realized that how the blood had been taken to that cell. Remember, when McClary's suitcase was searched by Jackson, Jackson got a semicircle rubber ring, and he asked about it to McClary, and McClary told that he had having piles, and the doctor has suggested him not to sit on hard surface. So when he used to sit, actually he actually gives this rubber ring, semicircle rubber ring on that hard surface, and he sits over it. So the governor also found that, oh, this is the semicircle ring with which, or inside which, you have actually brought this blood into the cell. Evans grinned feebly. Grin means smiled. Evans smiled. Clever though, wasn't it? So a question may come that how do you think that McClary had brought blood, or McClary had supplied this blood, a pinch of blood to Evans to pretend that he had been actually wounded, and to make all the people fool. So this was the thing, that with that semicircle rubber ring McClary had brought with him. And McClary told, when Jackson asked about him, McClary told that as per the advice of the doctor, he always uses these whenever he sits on a hard surface, and inside this semicircle rubber ring he brought this blood. Must have been a tricky job sticking a couple of pins. And I told, yes, must have been a tricky job. Now, you have got it wrong, sir. No problem about that. No, no problem. Actually, Evans told that there was not a problem in carrying blood inside that rubber ring. No, it's a clotting, you see. That's a big trouble. We got the blood easy enough. Pig's blood it was. Question may come that which blood was actually it was, or which blood was coming out from Evans's head. Actually, McClary had brought this blood, and it was a pig's blood, and Evans had poured it on his head to make the people so that he was so actually the blood was coming out from his head. We got the blood easy enough. Pig's blood it was. Yes, no. Yes, yeah, cuz. Yes, McClary brought it knowingly. Actually, it was not the original McClary. It was one of Evans's friends. So it was the part of their, plan. McClary was involved into the plan. So McClary knew that he brought that blood in that, rubber ring. Okay, rubber ring. Yes, he knew it. That Evans was telling that only problem that the blood might clot. Yes, sir, that's a big trouble. Evans told, yes, one problem they faced in carrying or fetching the blood inside the cell, because it might clot. We got the blood easy enough. Pig's blood it was, from the Slaughter's house in Kiddleton. And a question may come, where from McClary had brought this pig's blood? From Kiddleton, and Slaughter's house. Slaughter means butcher. But to stop it clotting, we have got to mix here actual blood, and told that to stop clotting of that pig's blood, they had to mix with actual blood with it. Evans took a breath. With 1/10 of its own volume of 3.8% trisodium citrate. Didn't you know that? Did you, sir? Now, you people might know that if we mix trisodium nitrate, we should ask to a chemistry teacher as well, that if we mix trisodium nitrate, question may come that how they actually kept the blood liquid even after so long when it was brought to Evans's cell, because Evans was telling that a volume of 3.8% trisodium nitrate had been mixed with that pig's blood. Didn't you know that? Did you, sir? And he was asking, didn't you know this formula? That if you use that 3.8% trisodium nitrate with that blood, it would not clot. The governor shook his head in a token of reluctant admiration. Reluctant means, yes, the government shook his head with admiration, though the governor was not so desirous to admire him, but still, governor was very much impressed. We learn something new every day. They tell me, come on, my lad. And the governor told, we learn. Means from this answer, it is obvious that governor also did not know these tricks, how to keep the blood liquid for a longer time. And the governor realized, yes, every new day we learn lots of things. So, okay, you come on, my lad. And governor was telling to Evans to go with him. I hope you understood super. Just one more day we will take to complete this. Next, and this coming Thursday, definitely we will complete it. Okay, and then we will discuss a bit about writing and all these. Everything is there. Thank you very much for joining my class, and keep joining so that we can discuss more about our syllabus. Thank you.